Good afternoon from Yummy Bee TV. Wishing you all well. Sending loads of love to you as usual. Right, this topic is not for the faint-hearted, right? Some graphic detail in this, just to let you know at the start. But really what I'm touching on is a prison institution where staff are employed. Are they wearing a badge with honour? And are some hiding some dark secrets? Because after all, remember this, and I'll tell you straight, we know, sadly, and the way that human behaviour is, and life as it is anyway, in a prison institution, and all institutions, there will always be females that fall for the manipulation of inmates like me and others to bring stuff in, sexual stuff, etc., etc. I love you, blah, blah, blah. I love you too, blah, blah, blah. But it can get even deeper than that, right? And I'm going to refer back to a time in 2009, right, when I got the local discharge. When I came from Long Lartin, they unlocked me at 6 in the morning, right? John Gray was to the right. Everybody was there at that time, right? So I was shouting everyone up. They were saying, Yummy, what's going on? And that Mr. Birchall, right? Phil Curry was there at that time, but he wasn't there that morning, right? They come from me and said, nah, we're shipping you out to Cat A's. You're getting a local discharge. At first, they made me believe that I was going Franklin when I was in the bus. Remember I told you that story when the governor, I ain't going to say his name, and that same security, they came onto the sweatbox. They said, you found it funny here, but it's going to come and bite you back on the back, Uncle Yummy. I said, sour grapes. What have I won that one then? Is to make you not feel that way. But anyway, it's for the first time in about a 10 stretch that I'm ending up back in London. But only this time I got 3 or 4 months before I'm discharged back into the community. We knew that I got recalled straight away when I went carnival and I came back late, right? So, but this is very, very harrowing, right? There was an SO and PO, right, in Pentonville at that time. When I came through reception, right, Governor Leader, I was in a box all by myself, and I heard a screw say to Governor Leader, so that geezer Yummy, he's meant to be a baddie, isn't he? And I heard Governor Leader say to him, I wouldn't say a baddie, but we put him high up the tree for his survival skills. And I heard him say that with my own ears, right? And I was laughing, right? But I was when you leave the Cat A's after so many years and you go back to a London job, it's like getting bail. That's what it felt like to me, because you're in a mix for all that time, Yummy, where everybody's, where it's a serious level of extreme violence and behaviours more than any other C's and B's and that category of prison, right? When I got to Pentonville, Lenny Cole was there, and he was saying to me, Yummy, listen, it's not like the Cat A's here. Because each day I was like that with my hand in my pocket. He was saying, no, Yummy, it's not like, even though it is, because the youngsters were there at that time. But he's saying, Yummy, it's a new environment for you. You've been stuck in the jungle, that kind of jungle for too long. If you get, well, we're not going to elaborate on that. They put me on the back wing, on D wing in Pentonville, right, where you're shut off. That was the time when the Home Office were coming up. They wanted to have 6 weeks assessment to see if I'd been radicalised and that I was going to be a suicide. I had to go through all that. I thought, effing hell, mate. A lady from the Home Office was coming, right? But one day I fell out. I must have put it on a couple of members of staff, right? And they called me down to the office, and an SOPO named John Maber, right? Everyone used to say he was sweet. Imagine that. He says to me, listen, I'm dropping your regime from standard to basic. I said, listen, I ain't doing no basic. I said, who are you talking to? Right? He never said nothing. I left the office, right? I said, no, I'm not playing ball. It's a war thing. That's how I was them days. I went into the shower, right? Listen to this one. I went into the shower. I said, I was with one other guy from South London, a good kid, right, named Twirly, right? I think he's Vivian's son. Me and him was talking, right? Like he's a little young youth from East London called Cyrus as well. We was in the showers, and I was just putting on my clothes. Who walked in? John Maber and about 10 prison staff, right? So I'm pulling up my trousers and I'm thinking, oh no, it's on here. You know what I mean? Yummy, what are you going to do? Are you going to swing, get wrapped up? Because I'll tell you one thing, I never done basic. I was never accepting that kind of, that regime, if you get what I mean. It was always that way with me, right? So he's in there, he's standing in the front of them all, with all of them behind him. He's gone, yeah, what did you say to me in the office earlier? I said, no, I said to you that I wouldn't be doing basic, yeah? He goes, yeah, would you prefer to go down the block and that? And they all started moving and circling around me. I felt vulnerable. All right, I bottled it there. Not bottled it, but I knew that I couldn't win, right? And I looked at him, I thought, right, I'll come back for you on another day in my mind, because I know that you've brought all them as backup. So I'll wait for my day. That's how I used to think. I'm thinking, you ain't getting away with this for Billy. I said, no, everything cool. I thought so. You're not so tough now, are you? I said, oh, all right. Yeah, cool. Right, so I banged up. There was this big geezer called Griff, right? He was proper Griff, right? A big geezer. He was doing an IPP, but he had the front door keys in Pentonville. He used to be able to stay out till 12 o'clock at night. I see him playing dominoes, cards with the staff and all that kind of stuff. Right, Pentonville was like that in those days, right? That's the same Griff that had the altercation with Gary Griff, who was the ex-police officer turned armed robber, etc., etc. He's been on my show already. That was the guy that confronted Gary in the gym, and Gary Griffin said to him, no, listen, I ain't going nowhere. That's the guy, right? But to me, he was still proper sweet, right? So I went up to him, I said, listen, I'm going down the block soon. After that, I came up from the showers. I said, I'm going down the block, and I'm going for my man, right? He said, yummy, just cool. Who, Mr. Maber? He's all right. Right. I said, yeah. He goes, let me have a word, Yammy. You know what I mean? I said, nah, they're trying it on with me, mate. I've only got a couple of months left. I'm going to run up on my man. But Griff went back to Mr. Maber and said, listen, mine how you talk to Yammy. Mine, you don't know him. And blah. So Maber done his homework on me, right? John Maber, the POSO prison officer. And then he came back to me the next day after that. He said, listen, Yummy, I didn't know who you was, right? I just looked into your file and all that and everything. And all right, cool. I kind of thought, you know what? You're giving me a blight. You're making me, my ego's getting the better of me during that time there, because I didn't want to, you know how I think about myself and all the wars and all that kind of stuff. I'm thinking you lot don't know me in this London jail, but to some of them it don't really matter, if you get what I mean. But I would have got battered that day. He said, no, I'm not dropping you down to basic. So I'm thinking this morning when someone mentioned this guy to me, John Maber, prison officer, right? I'm thinking, all right, he's cool. Then I said to Griff, yeah, no, he's not dropping me to basic. He goes, Yummy, leave it to me. Don't worry about all that. I've got him locked here. It's my place. Griffin was proper, mate. Right, they hanged on to him for a long time as well on a two IPP, ended up doing about 10 or 12, right? But it's a big lump. They were shook of him, right? A little further down the line, I got out, got recalled. When I got the recall, and then I got the next 8 after the 12, right? He come back, someone said to me, Yummy, do you remember that prison officer, John Maber? I said to him, yeah, that was the guy that time. He said to me, yeah, I remember that, right? I said, why? He goes, Yummy, he just got a life sentence. I said, what? Got a life sentence for what? Sexually abusing little babies, 20 months old, 4 years old. We know any abuse is bad, and that the vulnerable and the weak and all that kind of stuff, right? So listen to what happened. He got lifed off. But John Maber was the master at control and restraints. You know, like he teached prison officers the control and restraints, you know, like certain moves when you put your hands back that way and that way when they're wrapping you up and half killing you to death and that. He was proficient in that kind of stuff, right? He got lifed off. Someone said to me this morning, Yummy, I'll remind you of certain things for your book, right? But you had a run-in with him. And there we have it. Because I'm not all prison staff, but it shows you the levels. Because these are the men and women that are going to be writing your parole reports, your daily your conduct on the wing every day. If your face don't fit, you're not getting in, right? So you've got people being employed in those environments that are hiding deadly, the darkest of secrets, in high positions. In there, we know we've heard it in all walks and all you know, judges in the House of Lords, whatever, all walks of life, on the streets, it's everywhere, right? And then the same thing, I say with females who are attached to men and love and probation officers during that time, another probation officer got off with another inmate, etc., right? We're not going to say who that is. But they're the ones writing the reports for you. So they can write in your favour or they're going to write against you. But are they really equipped to be able to put their input in? Because if they don't like you and the way that their minds, they're not wearing the badge with honour, but yet they're sitting in that position where they can play a hand in getting you released or keeping you in. It's deep. There was one in Whitemore as well. There was some little scream up with child abuse and that kind of stuff. And he was PO, nearly a governor. So you think they could do, they're a law unto themselves. There's more to come on this as well. It's really weird how you can put people in high positions. It's going to happen. I accept that in all walks of life. But there are so many inmates that are going to be sitting there. They don't play ball, but they do what they have to do. But then the powers that be can go on there and say, no, I don't think he's fit enough to be released because I don't like him. But yet, some of you are committing terrible crimes and sins. And, all right, the vulnerability, human nature, women can fall for men and men can fall for women. It can be true. Most of the time, as I know it, it's a manipulation by the man on the woman, female staff saying that I love you, and the frills and, you know, the fantasy and that kind of stuff when they're working in those environments passes through your mind sexually in that way, right? There will always be that. There will always be people going into that system for that reason alone. Deep in old stuff and that. Uncle Yammy's going to break more of it down. I've gone on too long, but I don't want to get all psychological on you. But some of the things I saw in that life, I realised how can a system run in the way that it does that be beneficial when you're offering rehabilitation solutions to them inmates coming out and not committing crime again and making them, you know, understanding of their ways and that kind of stuff. And that this is something I'll be going on a programme soon and talking about it as well with that setting of that prison environment that is not, you know, there's always, all right, come on, said enough. Uncle Yummy, leave it. No, that's enough. But imagine that. John Maber, you know, imagine that. Double A cat as well, because he's proficient in control and restraints while he's in prison. Staff are thinking, well, we can't really, because you taught it and all that. So you got to be isolated and blah, blah, blah. I wonder where he is now. I bet he's in a decal or something if he is. Wow.